general form. So general form is when all the coefficients of the variable are whole numbers and you have one side equal to 0. So we can write the equation of a line in different forms. So what is this in point slope form? So we'll refresh our memory here. Point slope form. So you pick a point. Which point do you want? How about 2, 0? So the point is 2, 0, and what's my slope? Up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. So and that's positive 5 over 2. So what would be my point slope form? Y minus 0. We don't need to actually have the 0 there, but yeah, equals what? 5 over 2 x minus 2. Okay, so now let's put it in slope-intercept form. What's slope-intercept form? Look at the graph and tell me what the slope-intercept form is. You can tell me. Y equals 5 over 2 x minus 5. Everybody good? So now we're actually going to do the general form. And so they're actually giving you the general form. So general form, and I'll show you how we can get this. General form is 5x minus 2y minus 10 equals 0. So in all three forms here, how can you tell if they're actually the same? Like if I look at can I really tell that they're really the same? No. What would I have to do in order to actually figure out if they were actually all the same equation? Solve for y, like put it in slope-intercept form? Yeah, it has to be in the same form. So for instance, if I wanted to change this to slope-intercept form, what would I have to do? I need to multiply this in, yes? So first off, y minus 0 is just y equals, right? And what do I get when I multiply 5 over 2x? 5 over 2x. And what do I get when I multiply 5 over 2 times minus 2? You get minus 5. Very good. Anybody have any trouble with getting minus 5? The 2's would cross cancel, yes? Okay, and of course that's the same as this. Now, how would I figure out if that was the same equation? Get y by itself. Okay, so let's do y by itself, and how would we do that? Subtract 5x. What else? Plus 10. Are you guys good with me doing that 2 for 1 deal there? That will cancel, that will cancel. Then I'm left with minus 2y equals minus 5x plus 10. Then what? Divide by negative 2 to both sides. You see that this becomes y equals, what do I get there when I have a minus 5 over minus 2? I get positive 5 over 2, x. And what do I get when I divide positive 10 divided by negative 2? Negative 5. So do you see, they're all the same equation. So you have to be able to change them between the three now, okay? So the equation 5x minus 2y minus 10 equals 0 is in general form. All terms are on the left side. So this is the definition of general form. The coefficients, does everybody remember what a coefficient is? Yeah, are integers, and the coefficient of x is a positive integer. So it has to be in a certain order. It has to go, some number times x plus some number times y plus then the number by itself equals 0. And all a, b, and c have to be integers, and a has to be positive. Okay? So the hardest thing is getting rid of fractions for people. Okay? So let's try that. write this in general form. So this A is pretty easy. We need to move everything over to the left side. So what do we get for that? How would I get minus 3x plus 5 over to the left side? Yeah, if you want, you can show your steps. So you're adding 3x, and then what are you doing to the 5 to get it over to the other side? Minus 5. Do you see that all cancels on the right side? So then I get 3x plus y minus 5 equals 0. It has to be in x, then y, then the number without the x and the y equals 0 form. And what's the other thing it has to be? The x has to be, coefficient has to be positive. So what happens if it ends up being negative? Does anybody know the trick to? Yeah, just switch all the signs. Very good. Okay, so here's a problem. We have a fraction. We cannot have any fractions. They all have to be integers. Remember, integers are essentially whole numbers with signs, right, to them. So we cannot have the 1/2. You cannot have decimals either. Decimals are not integers. I'm sorry? Reciprocate it? Just arbitrarily, like just that one, make it a 2? Or like, I don't understand what you're saying. Okay, so does everybody understand the steps that I'm doing right here is algebra steps? I call it Algebra 101. Algebra 101 is whatever you do the left side, you do the right side. Okay? So that's the only legit moves we can do. Whatever you do the left side, you do the right side. Who can tell me how I can get rid of a fraction by doing something to the left and the right? Multiply by 2. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 2 to both sides. So what do I get on the left side? 2y. What do I get on the right side? Negative, okay, I'll put negative 1x, but you don't really need that. And what do I get with a 3? Plus 6. Okay, so what I did from this step to this side is I multiplied both sides by 2. Okay? Everybody good? So now what do I have to do? In order to get it in general form, what has to be true here? You have to have the right side equal to 0, and the x has to be positive. Well, let's see what happens here. So how do I get this over to the other side? Plus x, subtract 6. Whatever I do there, I do here, right? You see that'll cancel. And then you see the right side is now 0. And then on the the left side, who can tell me what's on the left side here? Yes, x plus 2y minus 6 equals 0. Then we're done. Yep. All right. Let's try this one. Write it in general form. So, well, I can see it's coming up then. Does everybody see the way it is written right now? What form is that called? Not slope-intercept. Point slope. Because I can read it and I can tell the slope is 2/3, and I can tell that it goes through the point 4, -5. Everybody see? That's why it's called point slope or slope point form. I like point slope form better. So how am I going to change it from point slope form into general form? Yep. Multiply it in. I heard. Very good. So we're going to multiply this in. So I get y plus 5 equals 2/3 x. What do I get when I multiply 2/3 times minus 4? Minus 8/3. Very good. Anybody have a problem how I got minus 8/3? 2/3 times 4/1. Do you see? There's nothing to cross cancel, and it's just 8/3. Yes? And with a minus because of the subtraction. We good? Now, what was the trick to get rid of the fractions? Multiply by the common denominator. So, what is it? What do I have to multiply here by? 3. So I'm going to multiply each and every term by 3. So what do I get on the left side? 3y. What do I get with the 5? plus 15. What do I get for the 2/3 x? I just get a 2? I get a 2x, yes. And what do I get when I multiply minus 8 over 3 times 3? Minus 8. Okay, again, if you don't know what is going on here, the 2 over 3 times 3, do you see they cross cancel, right? The 8 over 3 times 3, do you see they cross cancel? Do you see that's the whole point? We're trying to get rid of the denominator, right? Okay, what's the next thing to do now to get into general form? Yes, we're going to subtract 2x and do what else? Add 8. And I'm going to put the add 8 under the 15. Does anybody know why I'm doing that? They're like terms, yeah. Okay, so those cancel, and I'm getting 0 on that side. So then I get minus 2x plus 3y plus 23 equals 0. Am I good to stop here? No. We got a what? Switch all the signs. So 2x becomes, sorry, minus 2x becomes positive 2x, plus 3y becomes minus 3y, positive 23 becomes minus 23, and 0 stays as 0 because it doesn't have a sign, right? So again, the leading x has to be positive for you to get full marks for general form. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to solve for y, because that's essentially how you're going to find the slope, right? Does everybody see we want it in y equals mx plus b form so we can read the slope? Yes? Okay, I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so negative 3y equals negative 4x plus 12. Y equals 4 over 3x minus 4. So m equals 4 over 3. Did you get that? Okay, so 4y equals minus 6x plus 5. Y equals minus 6 over 4x plus 5 over 4. So m equals negative 3 over 2. Did you get negative 3 over 2? I have to reduce that, right? Okay, so then where am I going with this? I'm going to be asking you questions with what is the y-intercept now? Well, then if it's in this form, you can just tell me, right? If it's in this form, you can just tell me, right? It says using x-intercepts to graph a line. Why did I start there, but then it goes over here? I have no idea. So find the x-intercepts and y-intercepts of the line. So do you remember how to find the x-intercept? How do I find the x-intercept? What do I do? Set y to 0. So 4x plus 0 minus 8 equals 0. Does everybody see what I did there? Okay, so now I'm going to solve for x. So what am I going to do? Move that 8 over to the other side. So I get 4x equals 8. So what is my x-intercept? 2. How do I find my y-intercept? Put x to 0. So 4 times 0 plus y minus 8 equals 0. So this whole thing goes to 0. Yes? So what is my y-intercept? It's not negative 8 because you're going to move it over to the other side, right? So it'd be positive 8. So do you remember how to graph using the x and the y-intercept? Yep. How? You put a point on 2 on the x-axis, and you put a point on 8 on the y-axis, and you draw the line. That's right. Okay, so and make sure you don't use a short, stubby line segment. You connect it and put arrowheads, right? Okay, let's do this. So x-intercept, remember to find the x-intercept, you set y to 0, so 3x. So here's my question to you. Is there any point me writing 4 times 0? When I write 3x, is there any point writing 4 times 0 there? No, it's gone. So then you can just go minus 24 equals 0. So you could pretty much see x is 8, right? Yeah? Same with the next one. For my y-intercept, is there any point writing 3 times 0? No, just write minus 4y minus 24 equals 0. You may not see the sign, so you may want to show that step. Minus 4y equals 24, so y equals minus 6. Again, you don't have to show every step. So -6, +8, connect the dot, right? Yes? Everybody good?